Blinx Time Super is a game I discovered as a kid and I was looking through the bargain bin of original Xbox games. Blinx 1 and 2 are probably the most interesting games amongst the Xbox library. This is the entire Blinx franchise.
What's up, player?
Just chillin'.
I hear that.
What?
Huh?
Hot.
What?
You can't fight time, but Blinx can. Meet Blinx, an unlikely hero who controls time, using powers like rewind, pause, even record. Cause if he doesn't, time itself will stop.
Bang.
No Blinx.
Blinx, rated E for everyone.
For time control, there's no power greater than X.
You better watch, you gonna run into me.
Time report. Now doing
Blinx Time Super is a pretty simple platformer. The objective of every level is to defeat all time monsters. Blinx comes equipped with a TS-1000. It's a vacuum cleaner. With this, you can suck up scattered trash throughout the level and then blow back at enemies. The main gimmick of the game is the time controls. You can use this ability to manipulate enemies and obstacles around you. Each ability is gained by collecting crystals scattered throughout the levels, or dropped by defeated enemies. You can rewind to fix broken obstacles, pause, kinda self-explanatory, fast forward to move faster and jump higher, record to have a clone of yourself to help with puzzles, and slow down. I admire this concept. This is a very unique gimmick for a platformer. Each world has 3 levels and a boss. I have to say this is overall a pretty okay game for about the first world and a half, but I quit and gave up by the 4th world. But first, let's talk about everything I like about the game. These graphics look nice for an early Xbox game. I like the music of the game. It's a pretty good soundtrack. Yeah, that's all I can think of. Let's get down to the actual flaws of this game. To gain more time controls, you'll need to collect crystals, but this comes with its own gimmick. You see that bar in the bottom left corner of the screen? That's your combo bar, and no, I'm not talking any fancy action moves. You'll need to collect 3 out of 4 of the same shaped crystals. If you collect 4 of any crystals, and less than 3 match, you get a prompt telling you got a bad crystal combo. But other than that, nothing. Okay, so imagine if in Super Mario Bros. To get the Fire Mario power-up, you had to collect 3 out of 4 Fire Flowers. Let's say you already collected 2 mushrooms earlier. If you grab the Fire Flower, that's it. You just ruin your chances of getting Fire Mario. The only item you can get now is a mushroom. Unless you get any different item, then you get nothing. I hate this system. When it comes to most games, I'm a collectomaniac. When I see a shiny rotating object, I want to pick it up. But in this game, I'm constantly avoiding certain objects just so I can get the power-up I need. You'd think this wouldn't be a problem since this is a platformer for kids. But, this is very much a problem. In most platformers, when you need an item or a power-up that's mandatory to complete the stage, it often respawns or flat out ends the life right there. In Blinx, every item is a one-time use. Trash doesn't respawn. Enemies don't respawn. Even time crystals don't respawn. If you mess up on a puzzle, that's it. You gotta pause the game and hit restart stage. And why are the coins shaped like crystals? Especially the pyramid crystals, which are close to the same color. Like I mentioned before, time control is a good concept, but the execution in this game is just poor. It's not used very much for the puzzles, at least as far as I've seen. I mean, to be fair, I did stop playing at level 4. But when I think of time control, I think of cheating the system, like getting an extra hit on enemies, which you can't do because they have invincibility frames for no reason. What is this, a fighting game? Why does a soulless mook I have to kill even have invincibility frames? It makes killing enemies so tedious. You shoot them, wait for them to stop being dizzy, and shoot them again. And when you use a time control to hit an enemy, you have to wait for it to wear off just so you can shoot them again. I should be feeling like a god with these powers. These power-ups suck. They don't even mess with the level's in-game time on screen, which would be helpful since you only have 10 minutes to complete the stage. And if you don't, it's game over. You have to start the whole stage over again. The bosses don't even make use of the time controls. They just do a set of attacks and throw trash at you. Hold up, I just realized while I was editing, if you collect another time control while you're already holding 3, the game just takes a random one away without warning, so you only carry 3 time controls max. I didn't notice this during gameplay because I barely had use for the time controls during my playthrough, but still, that sucks. By the way, you're a one-hit wonder. You get hit once, you die. That is unless you of course have a retry heart, which rewinds you to the moment before you got hit. It sometimes works, but other times, it just throws you back in the same situation so you can get hit again. There's also an in-game shop where you can buy upgrades for your vacuum, but for some reason you have to buy back the downgrades. Yeah, sure, that makes perfect sense. I do like Blinx's character design. He was created by Naruto Oshima, who is the same guy who did the character designs for Sonic and Dr. Eggman. Blinx himself is a cool design for a platformer character, but the design of the enemies don't feel like they belong together. All the monsters look like they come from some old claymation show. I stopped playing the game at level 4 because I was just too frustrated and bored at this point, so I looked at the rest of the game on YouTube, and the later levels look just as tedious. They reused some bosses, and the final boss is a boss rush. No thank you! Oh yeah, I forgot this game had a story. The story is the Tom Tom Gang, which are a group of pig thieves, are disrupting the time stream by stealing crystals and kidnapping a princess. Blinx, who works at the time factory, sees the princess on screen, falls in love with her despite the species difference, and goes after the corrupted dimension to save her. And by the end, Blinx saves the world, but he's sad that he can't be with the princess. And that's it. There's only like 2 cutscenes in the whole game. I honestly see a lot of potential in Blinx the Time Sweeper being a good platformer, but sadly that potential is just not in the first game. However, the second game... First thing I want to bring up, English voice acting in the cutscenes, unlike the first game. Also, more cutscenes in general, because this game has an actual story and more world building. The story of this one is the Tom Tom Gang find the big crystal and accidentally break it, which caused it to launch and explode into 8 fragments. These events caused the disruption of time, and I guess angers the gods.
Time is a treasure, yet so few understand its true value.
Blinx's design in the first game looks great, but his redesign in this game looks even better. Sadly, he isn't playable. Instead, you create your own playable character with a surprisingly in-depth character creator. This is a neat aspect of the game. It gives you the feeling of being a new recruit in the Time Sweepers, which adds more world building on top of the first game. So yeah, the gameplay is kind of like the first game, except everything is fixed. But where do I even begin? The combo bar from the first game, gone. All power-ups are just simply rotating objects you just pick up and acquire. Thank you! All trash enemies power-ups, they all respawn, so if you mess up on a puzzle, you get another chance, and you don't have to restart the stage. And the coins are shaped like coins! Auto-aiming is still there when you're shooting trash, but this time you can target what you're shooting at. And if that's not accurate enough for you, there's a first-person view. Most of the enemies are returning ones from the first game, but they redesigned them to make them look more fitting with the world, which is a very much appreciated change. Also, you have checkpoints and a health bar, and if you lose all your health, you'll still rewind to the point to before you died, but this time, it's optional. No longer is every mission to defeat all monsters like in the first game. Instead, the missions have different objectives depending on the level, and real puzzles that actually make use of the time mechanics. And hey, they actually manipulate the levels in-game time now. Cool! Also, there's no longer a 10-minute time limit. It's like they played their own game. The in-game shop is also not only where you can buy upgrades, but also buy cosmetics for your characters. You even unlock an upgrade layer that lets you combine time controls. I feel like a god. There's also these fun sections in some levels where you can dodge bullets like Neo from the Matrix. Every other level, you play as a member of the Tom Tom Gang, which is a different playstyle from the Time Sweepers. These levels are more focused on stealth and traps, and instead of time controls, you have a bunch of items at your disposal that can manipulate space in different ways. These stealth missions are really fun, especially when you're able to equip weapons you unlock later. It feels so good to blast a cat with a bazooka. All the bosses are fun too. They all make creative uses of the time controls. Most of the bosses for the Tom Tom Gangs are just the multiplayer battles with CPUs. And these are also fun, just like the multiplayer itself, which is a fun battle between the sweepers and the Tom Toms. Everyone just fights each other to death using their own abilities of space and time. And speaking of multiplayer, the entire game has 2-player co-op, which is a plus for me for any game that has co-op. I love the opportunity to bonding with my friends. Sadly though, this game does have a major flaw, and that is the operator. Every time you get to a certain area or a set piece of the level, the operator will stop you mid-gameplay to tell you what to do, even though the objectives are listed at the beginning of the level, and I'm pretty sure I can figure out what to do on my own. The worst kind of tutorial I always hated in any game is the kind that stops you mid-gameplay to explain. That just ruins the flow of the game for me, and I wish the game would just tell me what to do as I go. This wouldn't be a problem in Blinx 2 if it was just a tutorial, but it's throughout the entire game. But I'm still willing to look past it since the game itself is still really fun. Blinx 2 is more than the repaired Blinx 1. It's a fantastic platformer, and probably my favorite platformer on the original Xbox. I would recommend this game, but for some reason Microsoft is reselling the first game on the One and Series X, but not the second one. That makes no sense. As of this recording, finding a copy of Blinx 2 isn't that expensive, but if you don't have an original Xbox or Xbox 360, then just emulate it. Hopefully Microsoft remembers this franchise exists one day. Oh boy, at the time of this recording, this is December 31st, so this is like the last day of 2020. If everything goes right, I should be able to upload this on the last day of 2020. This is my big hurrah, this is what I'm leaving the year with. Blinx a Time Sweeper. There's still some people that like this game. I don't get it, and I've found, like, in some cases, like, Blinx a Time Sweeper 1 has been reviewed higher than Blinx 2. I guess those are old reviews. I mean, but like, if you still like this game, to each their own. I'll explain my points. But like, I just recommend the second one. I wish the second one was more available. They should really put that in the Xbox store. And I would really love a Blinx 3. I think a Blinx 3 would be a bit like taking everything they did right from Blinx 2 and just like making another game based off that. That would be perfect. This review took a while. I think I plan to make our Blinx review for like it's been like a year and a half now, like 2 years, and starting when I started production on this review was like 2 months ago. It took me a while. I was just procrastinating. Also, getting through that first game was a doozy. When I finally just call it quits, because I was thinking about beating it, but like it frustrated too much. I finally decided to call it quits. And then I just decided to start the second game anyway. And when I started the second game was a blast. I love it. And I can't wait to. It's a great game for co-op. I can't wait to play like with friends again on co-op. And I can't wait to also play it with multiplayer mode with people. I want to get more controllers just so I can play that multiplayer mode. But yeah, thank you for viewing this video. If you're watching this on New Year, Happy New Year. And if you're watching this afterwards in the future, I hope 2021 is better than 2020. But like, I'm ending the year with this video, so you know, it's ending well. I think it was a good video. Hopefully. All right, log night, everybody.